Hello friends, welcome back to Wow IAS. Welcome to the discussion on daily MCQ. Today is 17th of July 2021 and now we are going to discuss 5 current affair based MCQs. तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं. But first, let us discuss the question that was asked yesterday. Yesterday's question was, in 1939, Subhash Chandra Bose was elected as the President of Congress, defeating whom? A. Jawaharlal Nehru, B. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, C. Vallabhbhai Patel, and D. Pattabi Sitaramaiah. And some of you have given the correct answer as well. It was Abuzar Qureshi and Divya Vasisht who gave the correct answer. So, if you see, in 1939, Subhash Chandra Bose was elected as the President of Congress after defeating Pattabi Sitaramaiah. Pattabi Sitaramaiah was the presidential candidate and he is supported by Gandhi. And Subhash Chandra Bose defeated him. This happened in the Tripuri session in 1939. Subhash Chandra Bose was the President of Congress in 1938 also. And in 1938, the Congress session happened in Haripura. So remember these important things. Okay. So if you see Abul Kalam Azad, after 1940, it was Abul Kalam Azad till independence who was the President of the Congress. Okay. So that's the important thing which we need to know. And if you talk about Vallabhbhai Patel, it was in 1931, which the famous Karachi session of Congress, it was presided by the great man Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay, so this is all the important information. Now let's move on. And guys, as I tell every day, make the best use of this current affair based MCQ initiative, because as you know, prelims is becoming very dicey these days, and the number of questions for the prelims which are being asked are also increasing, but they are being asked in a unique way. That means they are mixing static questions with the current affairs, and we are giving the questions in the same way. So make the best use of this initiative so that you gain maximum and you clear the prelims with a higher score, right? So now let's begin the discussion. The first question: consider the following statements. This is with regard to the adjournment motion. First one, adjournment motion can be introduced both in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha to draw the attention of the House to a definite matter of public importance. Second one, the discussion on this motion should last for not less than 2.5 hours, that is 2 or 30 minutes. So which of the following are correct statements? A 1 only, B 2 only, C both 1 and 2, and D neither 1 nor 2. So if you see the first statement, it is given that the adjournment motion can be introduced in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, but this is wrong, because the adjournment motion can be introduced only in Lok Sabha and not in Rajya Sabha. So this first statement is wrong, but the second statement is right, because the discussion should happen for a minimum of 2.5 hours. So B 2 only is the correct answer. Okay, so the first statement is wrong and the second statement is right. So why this was in news is recently. So recently, the Shiromani Akali Dal, they have decided to move an adjournment motion in Lok Sabha against the government on the 3 farm bills which were passed last year. Because as you know, the farmers are protesting against these farm bills. So that's why the Shiromani Akali Dal, they have decided to move an adjournment motion. The adjournment motion can be introduced only in Lok Sabha. This is because normally if you see the government, that is the executive, is responsible only to the Lok Sabha and not to the Rajya Sabha. That is one of the main reasons that the adjournment motion can be passed only in Lok Sabha, because as it involves censure against the government. And also the adjournment motion normally has to be supported by at least 50 members. So that is also one of the reasons. Okay. So if you see this adjournment motion, it has to be discussed at least for 2.5 hours. That means 2 hours 30 minutes it has to be discussed. This is another important provision of the adjournment motion. And also some other provisions I've given here. You can just go through this. Okay. And also they should not discuss any matter which is in front of the court. It should not raise any question that can be raised on a distinct motion. It should not raise any question of privilege, etc. Right? Now let's move on to the next question. The second question: consider the following statements. The textile and garment industry in India is labor intensive and is second only to the agricultural sector in terms of employment. Second statement: India is the largest producer of textiles with 16% of global share. So here we have to choose the correct statement. A 1 only, B 2 only, C both 1 and 2, and D neither 1 nor 2. So if you see the first statement carefully, this is right, because normally the textile and garment industry is a very labor intensive industry, and normally in India it is the agricultural sector which employs the maximum number of people. After agriculture, it is textile industry. Textile industry employs approximately about 21% of people. Okay, 21% of employment is provided by the textile industry. So if you see the technical textiles, if you see the second statement, in fact, it is given India is the largest producer. Normally in UPSC, the extreme statements are always wrong. Largest, smallest, if these words are used, if anything extreme is given, that is generally wrong. So even here also we are following the same pattern. Even here it is given India is the largest producer. This is wrong. Because in the technical textiles, if you see, India is the sixth largest producer and has about 6% of global share. So that's why the second statement is wrong and the first statement is right. So A1 only is the correct answer. A1 only is the correct answer. So here recently the Union Minister of Textile had a in-depth review of the initiatives which are taken by the ministry earlier, so that this is mainly done actually to give boost to the textile industry, because normally these days we are seeing countries like Bangladesh and Vietnam, they are competing with India in these textile industries. In fact, they have overtaken India. If you see in the recent news, Bangladesh per capita GDP is much greater than India. Not much greater, but they have surpassed India in fact. Okay, so that's why India is actually thinking to boost the textile industry, because textile actually employs a lot of people, as India has a lot of unemployment. So textile industry becomes very key. So if you see here, the textile industry contributes approximately 2.3% to the GDP and 7% to the industrial output. It even contributes 12% to the export earnings of India and employs approximately 21% of total employment. And in technical textiles, as I told already, India is the sixth largest producer and has 6% of global share. If you see even the silk in the world, India is the second largest silk producer, China is the largest producer, and India is the second largest producer, and 95% of the world's hand-woven fabric come from India. So textile actually in India has a very ancient history. We are seeing this textile industry in India right from the time of British, even before British also. India, even before the British, if you see, India actually is a pioneer in the textile industry. After the British came, they have systematically destroyed Indian textile industry. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question. The third question: the prehistoric site of Mangarbani, famous for its cave painting and rock art, is located in A. Madhya Pradesh, B. Haryana, C. Jharkhand, and D. Bihar. So we have to choose the correct answer, and the correct answer is B. Haryana. So recently, the archaeologists in Haryana, they have estimated that the cave paintings which are located in Mangarbani cave painting, they might be up to 1 lakh years old. They might be up to 1 lakh year old. So that's why this was in use. So this Mangarbani cave painting, if you see, they are discovered at the prehistoric site of the Mangarbani Hill Forest in Faridabad, Haryana. And this might be one of the biggest Paleolithic sites in Indian subcontinent, where Stone Age tools were recovered from the open air sites as well as from the rock shelters. Right? And here I've given some more extra information. You can just go through it, and if you have any doubt, you can just ask us in the comment box. Now let's move on to the next question. The fourth question. The Cairo consensus, sometimes seen in the news, is associated to Cairo consensus. So here Cairo, if you see, this is the capital of Egypt. So here the options are A. Population control, reproductive health and rights. B. Free market economic policies. C. The issue of international abduction of children by parents. And D. None of the above. So here if you see Cairo consensus, this is related to the population control, reproductive health and rights. So option A is the correct answer. So recently we have seen that Uttar Pradesh government has passed a draft bill for the population control in the states, and it is called as Uttar Pradesh Population Control Stabilization and Welfare Bill of 2021. So that's why this was in news. So the Cairo Consensus, if you see, it's an international conference on population and development, and it was convened in 1994 under the UN, and was organized by the Secretariat composed of Population Division of the UN Department for Economic and Social Information and Policy Analysis. Right? And this conference actually adopted the policy of action by consensus, and this consensus is called Cairo Consensus, which emphasized the fundamental role of women's interest in the population matters and introduced the concept of sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights. That means women have these rights, and these are recognized by this Cairo Consensus. Okay, so here I've given some more extra information. You can just go through this. Okay, so this is all this information with regard to Cairo Consensus is important from the exam point of view, even if you see. And also there is a program of action which is adopted by this Cairo Consensus, and this emphasizes the interlinkages between the population and development, and this focuses on the meeting of needs of individual women and men rather than on achieving demographic targets. Because normally if you see, a lot of people say that by bringing such laws, we are not going to control the population, because if you see, one of the main reasons for poverty, it is population, and it's a vicious cycle. Because people generally think that they'll come out of poverty if they have more children, because if more children means they'll earn more so that they can come out of poverty. But that is not what is happening. People are being pushed into poverty much deeper because of the excess population. and the government has to focus on the socio-economic needs rather than bringing such bills, is what is said by some of the experts. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. The fifth question: the Bryum bharatiensis, which was in news recently, is related to the Bryum bharatiensis. A new rice species discovered in Andaman. B. Salt secreting mangrove species. C. Native species of moss from Antarctica. And D. GI certified fuzzle mango. So, Bryum bharatiensis, it was in news recently, and this is nothing but C. A native species of moss from continent Antarctica. Okay, so recently it was discovered at the Central University of Punjab. It was discovered, and the species is named after the Indian Antarctic station called Bharati. So that's why it was named the Bryum bharatiensis as a tribute to the India's Antarctic station. Okay, so the Flex Blast, an associate professor and head of the Department of Botany, Central University, who was part of India's Antarctic mission of 2017, as an expedition scientist, discovered this moss on the rocks near the Bharati station at Larchmont Hills, East Antarctica. And the studies have confirmed that this is a new species of moss, and this is the first time that it was discovered in the world. And if you see India's stations in Antarctica, India's research stations. So the first India's research station in Antarctica is called as Dakshin Gangotri, and it was established in 1984, but later it was decommissioned. After that, in 1989, Maitri was established, while Bharati was established in 2012, and currently both Maitri and Bharati are in operation. Okay, so this is all the information about this new species, new moss species, and here some more extra information is also given for you. You can just go through this. Okay, now let's look at the question of the day. The question of the day is: the famous Vishnu temple at Angkor Wat in Cambodia was built by A. Shurtavarman, B. Indravarman, C. Suryavarman II, and D. Aniruddha. So you have to choose the correct answer and give your answer in the comment box. And on Monday we are going to discuss this question, right? And guys, these are our initiatives. We have launched Vision Prelims Test Series Summary. We have covered all the 35 tests, and we are providing all these summaries so that you can revise all the important information multiple times. And also we have launched Vision Prelims Test Series, Vision Mains Test Series, Vision PT 365, and Vision Monthly Magazine summaries as well. So make use of these summaries to enhance your preparation and to make it more fruitful, okay, to enrich your content, so that you clear the prelims with flying colors. And that's it guys for the day. I'll see you again on Monday with 5 more MCQs. Till then, keep studying and stay tuned. Jai Hind.